this upcoming video that I'm going to do. I explained the parameters of this video to my lawyer. He got back with me. I called him at about 10 minutes ago, and he got back with me and said what I had discussed with him is legal. So it's actually legal to show the video that I was attacked from the rear without provocation. That's 100% legal. Because it happened on my property in plain view, in daylight, and was recorded by myself. So that video I'll be posting the link to in a few minutes. I also have permission to talk about how Philippines law works according to how it's worked for me, as long as I don't exaggerate or be negative towards the Philippines court system, which I would never do. I also have permission to talk about Barry Jourdain's court case and how that's going to work for him. But before I do that, I want to talk to everybody out there. Let's clear this up. Michael FAZIO never said don't give money to the man who's collecting money for Barry Jourdain. I never said that. I said that his girlfriend, Shah, and I made an appeal to CW, that if he's going to give money, or anybody is going to give money, that I believe that Shah herself should put a Gcash account number up on the screen. I asked people to get in touch with Shah, put a Gcash number up on the screen, and I asked people to make Shah what is called whole, W-H-O-L-E, again, in regards to her expenses, which at best guess, and I'm only guessing, she paid for the motorcycle 108,000 pesos. That's $2,000. She also borrowed $400 from her cousin. So that's $2,400. I am absolutely sure she's helped him with a few thousand pesos more, rounding it off to about $1,500. So I never said don't give money to the man that's collecting money for Barry. That man made a false statement against me. I never said that. I said I believe that Shah should be made whole again. And many people agree with me. Many people agree that every single person that Barry Jourdain owes money to should be paid first. You know, when I bought a house and you refinance the house, that credit agency who lent me the money, they have a mortgage on my house that I have a mortgage on. So when the house gets sold, any money that is owed to any agency gets paid in the order that they filed a claim against the sale of the house. So if I had a house and I borrowed a second mortgage, and then a week later someone put an attachment on my house for whatever, maybe they fell down on my sidewalk and they had $100 in doctor bills, and they put a $100 claim on my house and I didn't pay it, it goes on to the list of people I owe money to. If I owed money to the county and they wanted the money from me, it would go onto the mortgage. I don't owe anybody any money, but when I sell the house, those people get paid first. So it's only reasonable that Shah, who is closest to Barry Jourdain now, gets paid first. because she's the one that's helped him the most in the last few months. And for what purpose? To what avail? And for what purpose? To what avail? To what avail? What is going to happen with all of her hard work and so-called love and friendship? Barry Jourdain, he is clear as day. He don't want anybody to give her money. He wants to give the man who's collecting money for him, only give it to him. He's a selfish man. But we'll call him a selfish man. I'm trying not to break the algorithm, okay? I'm going to try to be good this one. But he's a selfish man. He should want everybody. What if he's a selfish man and he has a low IQ? If he was smart, he would say, and this is my opinion, I know I messed up. I know I'm in jail because I messed up, but I want to do the right thing. I want to get Shah, who was my loving girlfriend, who's going to be my wife one day. I want to get her reimbursed for her money. I want you to give that money to her first. If he had any moral turpitude at all. But he doesn't. That's why he's in jail. That and 200 or 300 other reasons. So does Shah deserve money? Well, she bought the motorcycle. Where did he get the money to buy a motorcycle? From who? How? He had $3,000 in lawyers' bills. And where is that case that he had? I'm not saying the case doesn't exist, but what happened when he was one signature away from a case going forward 5 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago. Where is the person? Where is the person? In Siberia? In an igloo? With no internet? Come on, you can do electronic signatures anywhere from the world, anywhere in the world. So is it a judicial system? It doesn't take that long to go through the judicial system. And I'm going to talk about Philippines law in a minute. A signature from any dignitary in the Philippines government by the request of a lawyer should take less than a month. So it's at least 3 to 4 months. So that's a lie. Of course that's a lie. But maybe he will come up with a case because he has videos, right? So he one signature away. What is the lawyer waiting for? Let's forget about that. If he had any moral turpitude or integrity, he should ask you people who are given money to pay Shah's debt first. Then people would look at him like he was more than subhuman. Oh yeah, well look, he's doing the right thing for the first time ever. He's doing the right thing. Then when Shah gets made whole, Shah can make a video saying thank you to everybody. I think I can't collect money for her. Well, I don't think I can, but if I do, you know what's going to happen to me? I'm going to get ratted out. Just like everybody else that's collecting money for Barry Jourdain. They're getting ratted out. I can tell you this is for a fact. Now, I don't know if anything will happen to them. I don't rat people out. Because I just don't have the wish, want, will, desire, or time to go through finding out who is the building commissioner, who's in charge of fraudulent collections, what agency, what's the guys. I'm not going to do all of that. That my life, the time that I live, my life is more important than ratting somebody out all day long, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, finding fault with other people. That's just not going to happen. I have something to say, I say it. So the person that said I am telling people don't give him money, that's another false statement. The person that said that I attacked him, we'll get to that in a moment, that's another false statement. You people that are sending me threatening comments on old videos, that's another day altogether. Now, there's nothing. Let me explain to you how Philippines law works in the comments section. I'll go into one. So first, I believe Shah should be made whole first. That's my opinion. CW, if you had any kind of moral turpitude at all, you would pay Shah. The next 1,000, 1,500 goes to Shah. And then after that, you could give it to whoever you want. Now, the people that are leaving negative comments towards me, hundreds of them, thousands of them since last year, you cannot bring a comment to court. So if I left a comment on a person's page that was negative, we'll just say negative, or if you leave a comment on my page that's negative, cannot be brought into a court of law. Cannot be done. In the Philippines, number one, the comment has to be traceable back to the channel. But that doesn't help you either. So if Sexpat Hunter, who actually made a complimentary comment saying that I was attacked, unduly attacked about a week ago. But let's just say Sexpat Hunter leaves a negative comment. And you push the button and it goes back to his page. You can't take that to a court of law in the Philippines, even if it was a threat. It has to be video format with the person's face, and the comment has to be made verbally. So you could say whatever you want in the chat and get away with it. Now, I tried to tell Barry Jourdain this a long time ago. If he puts his face in a video, goes back a year and a half. If he puts his face in the video and he makes a threat and then mentions the person's name, there's just no way out of that. There's no way I'm going to believe that the Bureau of Immigration is going to overlook that video. I'm not going to believe it, because it's a legitimate threat in a legitimate format that's accepted by the courts in the Philippines. Now, in regards to the courts in the Philippines, could it take a month to get that signature on somebody's paperwork? Yeah, it could take a month, but not much more than that. But, and this is a big but, if you want to get something done in the Philippines and you put a case against somebody, that case, they have some code of ethics that each case that you bring against another person has a worth to the lawyer of whatever it is in that jurisdiction. Could be $800. Let's just go with $800. Not $1,000, not $1,500. I understand it to be $800. So everybody that was asking you for $1,500 for one case to put against Barry Jourdain, that's a lie. I don't see it. I looked it up. I asked my lawyer. He said it's a standard fee in the Philippines, $800 for a case. It's written into their law. Now, can the lawyer ask you for twice that amount? Yes. But the standard fee is $800. So when he asked you for $1,500 for each case, and that he had two cases and got $3,000, his lawyer could have asked him for $3,000, but his lawyer only should have asked him for $1,600. If he wants to pay $3,000 to hire the best lawyer in the world, well, that's something else. But did he hire the best lawyer in the world? Certainly not, because now it's 4 months to get a signature, and it doesn't take 4 months to get a signature. I don't know why it's taken 4 months, but that's the way a court case works. Now, let's say Barry Jourdain has the maximum of 5 charges against somebody, anybody. The lawyer will take the case. He'll take the 5 most probable charges to make a conviction against the defendant. And then he will charge you $800 for the case. And then when he goes to court and reads the charges to the judge, he'll charge you 3,000 pesos, not 5,000 pesos. But maybe Barry Jourdain's lawyer is charging 5,000 pesos. But the standard fee in the Philippines, in the lawyers' whatever agreements and union charges, are $800 for the case and $3,000 for the court appearance, $60. However, in Barry Jourdain's case, if you have 2 cases, he's going to charge you $800 plus $800, or $1,600, plus when he goes to court to read the charges for both cases, he's going to charge you 3,000 pesos plus 3,000 pesos, one for each case, $120. Not $100 for each case, but he's entitled to $100 for each case if that's what you agree to. So if you agree to pay the lawyer $100 for each time he represents you in court, and there's two cases that are heard by the judge, that's $200. But the standard is $60. Now, let's say you have a case, one case, because you people are not capable of comprehending big math for some reason. That sounds like a Scott Del Fuego comment. I can only read the tail end, and it is. Jay Dow, he's a fraud, Jay Dow. He's a fraud from the get-go. First of all, he cannot legally sell barbecue in front of his place. Not possible. He would have to be a dual citizen, which would mean he would have to put $10,000 in the bank in escrow. It cost $11,750 with the $1,750 service fee. He can't do that. Scott Del Fuego, thank you for stopping by. Michael FAZIO, a man living in his own way without compromise or bending knee to anybody. That's right. Now, and I'm going to go on. It's going to get worse as I go on for Barry Jourdain. He's a liar and he's a fraud, in my opinion. Now, he agrees for one case, each time he's represented by the lawyer, 3,000 pesos. He has 5 charges against Dr. X. Okay? Now, this next comment that I'm going to make is because somebody is offering me an affidavit to go to court for me. And they will testify on behalf of another blogger's lack of integrity and what has occurred to me due to a blogger attacking me. Okay? Well, that's all fine and well, except that we already have those 5 charges from Barry Jourdain's first case. If you want to add an affidavit and a testimony, that's another case. That's another case. It's not part of the original case. Even if it's done on the same day, the 5 charges are the 5 charges. An affidavit is a separate case. So that's another $800 and another 3,000 pesos each time you appear in court, even if it's not for that case, because they have it set up that the case number 1 is slander and case number 2 is an affidavit. On the docket, they put those 2 things together. Hear ye, today comes before you, Barry Jourdain, in the case of cyber libel and a secondary case of an affidavit. 2 cases. That's 6,000 pesos. It's no longer 3,000 pesos. Now, if cyber libel case is done, it's done. It's gone. You win. Barry Jourdain won the cyber libel. Now the case for the affidavit comes up. Barry Jourdain has to give the lawyer $800 and 3,000 pesos every time he appears in court. But the 2 cases never separate. On the court docket, it says cyber libel and affidavit. Barry Jourdain has to pay the lawyer 6,000 pesos. The other case is done. It's over. It's finished. There's no more case. But it was attached to the affidavit at some point. So now both cases are represented in a court of law, and all that has to be mentioned is that here comes before the judge the cyber libel case and the affidavit. And then the lawyer will turn around to Barry Jourdain and say, "Sir, why am I representing you?" And Barry Jourdain will say, "The affidavit." And the lawyer will say, "And what other case did I represent you with?" And he will say, "The cyber libel case." "So I'm representing you for 2 cases, right, Barry Jourdain?" "Yes, sir." That's $6,000. 6,000 pesos. That's all he has to say. And he gets his 6,000 pesos. He only has to mention the other case. Even though the other case is gone. This is Philippines law. So, for the fella that sent me the affidavit, what you need to do is you'll have to pay for the case that you want to go to bat for me in a court of law, and you'll have to give me 10 appearance dates, because it'll probably take 10 appearance dates in court, which would be 10 times 3 is 30,000 pesos plus 40,000 pesos. You'd have to give me a minimum of 70,000 pesos for me to put that affidavit in a court of law. So I know you're not going to do that, but I'm just telling you how the law works. If I add another case, and then if I add that case to my other case, now I have to give the lawyer 9,000 pesos each time I go to court. So the affidavit would be your 3 for 10 times minimum. It's going to go to court 10 times. They're going to drag this out because whether the judge might have a son in school that's graduating, that happened. There's all kinds of things that a witness can't show up. There's all kinds of things. So that's a third case. Now it's an extra 3,000 pesos. So that's how the law in the Philippines works. Is it reasonable? I don't know. It's the way they run their business. Does it make sense? It's the way they run their business. You don't have to agree to it, but you have to pay the lawyer for it. It doesn't matter whether you agree to it or not. At the end, there could be some arbitration because of this, that, and or the other thing, but maybe there will be, maybe there won't. It depends. But one thing for sure is if your case is filed for slander and there's 5 charges, that's slander. That's a case. And you add an affidavit to the case, that's a separate case, plus 3,000 pesos each time the lawyer mentions it in a court of law. Can you slander somebody in the comments section? Say anything you want. Aloe and I had this conversation a long time ago. In Discord, now I'm not a member of any Discord, nor have I been for well over a year. And I only did that for a few weeks, and I said, this is nonsense. You people go to Discord so you can make up stories about other people with no proof. I'm not about that. So I said to Aloe, what happens if someone copies the Discord? Because I never left a negative comment in Discord. What happens if someone copies down the Discord chat and then takes that? It could be a threat. It could be calling somebody a child molester. Could be anything. What happens if that happens? Can you take that to court? He said, nope. Aloe said you can't. So then I asked my lawyer, and the lawyer says to me, is it chat? I said, yeah, it's chat in Discord. No, cannot be used in a court of law. No matter. Not in the Philippines. I have a comment here. Scott Del Fuego would know more about lawyers than anybody else on this show today. He says lawyers are the same all over the world. They run the game, they make the rules, and they break them when they want to. That's right. I agree with that, 100%. But I can't talk about that because I have an ongoing case. And even after the case is over, you're limited to what you're allowed to say about the Philippines law and or the culture or the judicial system and the politics in the Philippines. So I probably will never say anything other than the fact that I had to abide by their laws, and that's it. That's all you're going to ever say. You're not going to get away with much more than that. But that's the way the law works. So you could say anything you want in the chat. However, what I do is when someone leaves a negative comment towards me or Daisy May, I go right to their channel. If they don't have any videos or any content with their face in it, something they built, their house, their dog at a park with their face in it, I block them. Okay? It's not complicated. Somebody that wants to leave negative comments, but you don't want to, you want to remain anonymous? Oh, you can remain anonymous, and I'll make you anonymous on my page where I can't see you. Knock yourself out. If I can't see you, it doesn't bother me. I did that with Humble Expat yesterday. He asked me about what I think about Islam, which is a religion, right? To be honest with you, I deal with Islamic people, salespeople. The person I bought my oranges from had a burqa on. I don't care about that. In fact, I haven't thought about the Nation of Islam in years. It just doesn't cross my mind. It's just part of the culture where I live. I've never been harassed by anybody that's from Islam. They've never been, no one, they don't even actually ask you for money. They work for it. They sell shoe repair. They sell fruit. They sell vegetables. They sell cell phone covers. They're not beggars. We're working, it's a working class people. It's fine for me. But he was trolling me. And he wanted to know how much my rent was. Send me some super chat. Send me $20. I'll tell you how much my rent is. I've said it many times before, but if you want to know a personal question, you need to send me some super chat. And I don't care if you send it or not. If you ask me a personal question, if you don't have content on your page, you're getting blocked. Unless you attach some super chat to it. I think that's reasonable. So now let's talk about, let's go here. We have, how many people do we have here? 31 people. I'm going to give you a video of the attack that I was attacked in broad daylight from behind without provocation. And then it will clear up the air on whether or not, and I have another video that I won't show you where I was accused of being the attacker by the attacker. Now, I don't need to show you that because you all know and have heard that hundreds of times. So let me go and get the link for that video, which is in my And where would it be? Let's see. It's in my, it's on my community page. I'm going to have to go to my community page. So you can go to my community page. I have to go to my channel. Let's go over here. My channel. Okay, so you would go to my channel, right? And then, let's get the screen. Then you would go to my community page. And this will clear it up for you trolls. And if it doesn't clear it up for you trolls, the next time I hear anybody say that I did something to deserve to be smacked, which I was not smacked, which this video will clear up, and that I was the attacker, you're going to get blocked. So say what you want, and just remember that you're going to get blocked if you say I was the attacker. Okay, so let's go here. The links don't copy from the community page the same way that they do when you copy the links separate. It gives you 3 dots, which if you click the link, it will show you the video. But if you copy the link, it won't show you the, it won't always come up. For me, it does not. So let's copy that. Let's post it. Okay. Now we're going back to my live stream. Now I'm gonna give you this video. Just watch 45 seconds. This is what I had to ask my lawyer if I can post it for proof that I did not do the attacking. And he said that's no problem. So this video is going to show you whether or not I'm the attacker. But let's go one step further. Let's go to the video and you watch it. Where am I? Where am I sitting right now? I'm sitting facing the camera. I'm being attacked from the rear. How was I the attacker? Watch the video. You don't. Okay, let's watch it again. Let's watch it again. So if there's any doubt who attacked whom, and not only that, I was 25 feet deep on my property. The fence was torn down in order to get into the property. I was sitting there talking about raising a house, minding my own business, and attacked by a man I never met before. Here we go. You don't. Okay, so who is the attacker and who is being attacked? For those people that can't get it, I blew it up on the screen. So I got a full screen now. Rafi Tufo would call this the slap heard around the world. And for you people out there, trolls that say, I attacked him and I deserved what I got, we'll play it again. You don't. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? You're welcome to ask questions, but for now, I want to make a direct statement to Jeff Swift and Barry Jourdain. Jeff Swift, pray tell you never come before me and laugh about that video. Pray tell. Jeff, you tiny little man, because what I'm going to do if you do that, I'm going to ask you for permission. I'm going to ask you to sit down Jeff Swift, I'm going to ask you to sit down. I'm going to ask you to face away. I'm going to ask you to talk into a camera. I'm going to ask you to write it down, give me permission to attack you from behind and hit you with the nub of my forearm, or palm blow. Try to hit you with a palm blow. I'm going to try to break your eardrum like mine was. And then, but I'm going to also ask you for permission to do that, and you're going to write it down, and you're going to accept any responsibility for pain and suffering, Jeff Swift. But I want to do this in the nature that you thought it was funny that it happened to me. So let me do that to you, punk, and then you will have a video, and I'll make a video, and you can make a video, and you'll have a video to show your family of what you believe to be funny. And the same goes for Barry Jourdain. Pray tell you never come to my house and make fun of me in front of my house, because I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. I'm going to ask you for permission for you to sit down on a chair, and I will do to you what was done to me. And anybody else that wants to make a video allowing me to do to you what was happened to me, fair game. I'll make a video for you too. I'll tell you what, you want to know how altruistic I am? Jeff Swift, Barry Jourdain, for you two guys, I'll do it for free. I won't even charge you for the entertainment. So if you think it's funny that happened to me, we could make a video of that happening to you if you want, if you choose to, if you ask me nice. And then you can show it to your family. You can run your mouth on that Slob Kevin's media. I think they call him Slob Kevin Media. You can run your mouth on his show about how funny that was, both of you, and I will be able to, you know what I'll be able to do? I'll be able to go on his show and say I didn't even charge you for the entertainment. So Jeff, you got a big mouth, you got nothing to back it up with, and if you think that's funny, let's make a comedy video, me and you. Barry, if you ever get out of jail and you want to make a comedy video, let's do that. I have permission from my lawyer to say what I just said. Okay, I'm allowed to ask you to make a video, even if there's pain and suffering. You're going to relinquish all rights to pain and suffering. You're going to take it like a man, or take it on the chin, so to speak. No pun intended. Taking it on the chin. We saw that happen too, didn't we? So, moving onwards and forward, that's what I'm going to ask you for permission to do to you, being that you think it's so funny. So, and in addition to that, the two men I just mentioned are the biggest liars and frauds on YouTube. Well, this week, we have to nominate them for lies and fraudulent statements on YouTube. Because Jeff is mad at me. I used to get along quite well with Jeff, but he's mad at me that I knocked him down a couple of notches, telling him that I was a much better carpenter than he could ever be. That's true. It's true. I'm a better carpenter than almost everybody that'll ever come on YouTube in the Philippine genre. And if you have the ability to supersede me in carpentry, I'll give you a dozen different ways to be better than me in carpentry. I don't build kitchen cabinets anymore. I don't have dado. I don't have a radial arm saw. I don't have special router tables. I don't have power planers. We're talking about just regular carpentry, deck building, so to speak, deck and dock building. I'll beat anybody in deck and dock. Nobody is a better deck and dock builder than I am in the Philippine genre, maybe in real world. Few people, but they would never challenge me. They'd look at my work and say, the guy's good. The guy's good. That's all anybody could ever say about my deck and dock building work. But Jeff, he ran his mouth saying he was a better carpenter than me. And when I challenged them, big money, I said, you come to the Philippines, we'll make 2 staircases, we'll use 16 feet long, 4 by 14s, mahogany, red ribbon, mahogany, no knots, stringers, stringers. I'm going to use my horses, my worm drive, my multi-speed Sawzall, and my half-inch Milwaukee router, my Milwaukee worm drive, my Milwaukee Sawzall, and my Milwaukee half-inch drive router, and my Milwaukee hole shooter drill, half-inch hole shooter drill. All those tools that I just mentioned, every one of them are from the 1980s. I'll use my tools. I'll use my horses that I'll build right there that day. And you build a set of horses, but you have to bring your own tools. If you're better than me, you must have tools that equal my tool base, right? You must. Because if you're better than me, you have to have the tools to be better than me. Not only that, you'll have to be able to move a 4-inch thick, 14-inch wide, 16-foot long red ribbon mahogany stringer, which, Jeff Swift, you don't have the strength to even flip it over to run the other side after you hit it with the worm drive from one side to the other. So, in regards to the rest of my court case, I think that question was about that. I can't talk about the rest of the court case. I can only show you that part of the court case because that part is over with. So, I cannot talk about the current case. Don't ask me again, please. I cannot discuss the strategy for the current case. I can't discuss anything about the current case. But I can discuss a previous case because that case is closed. So it's public knowledge now. So please don't ask about what's going on in court with me because I won't be able to answer your question. So I know it's not a troll question. It's a legitimate question, but it can't be answered. Now, moving on, if anybody out there has a question about construction, ask me a question about construction. Go ahead, ask me. Pretty much most heavy construction, whether it deals a crane, ask me a question about crane. Ask me a question about pile driving. Ask me a question about deck and dock building. Ask me a question about the quality of lumber that's used in deck and dock building. Ask me a question of how lumber is treated. Ask me a question how you place lumber down on a deck. Ask me a question of how do you determine which end of the joist, which edge of the joist faces the sky. Ask me a question how you determine what part of a 2x6 faces the sky. Ask me questions about deck and dock building. I'll tell you, nobody is a better deck and dock builder than me. I've already proven that with my deck and dock building videos, but you people fail to understand that you're never going to stump me when it comes to a construction question. Concrete, I'm not the best concrete man in the world, but I know a lot about concrete. I know how to set up for a concrete job. I know the law in America, how to put rebar into concrete. I know the law in America, how much concrete has to be around rebar. I know the words that what will happen if the rebar is too close to the edge of the concrete. I know what you can add to concrete to stop the rebar from rusting. Ask me a question. Go ahead. I want you to. Scott Dilfuego and I talked about this. I tried my worm drive the other day instead of a standard circular saw. No comparison. Michael is correct. Power and accuracy are much better. Yeah, Scott and I talked about that the other day. I have a 7 8 1/4 inch. 8 1/4 inch is the biggest blade that fits on my Milwaukee 15 amp. No, 8 amp. 8 amp. My, what's 15 amp? I forget the amperage on my different tools, but my hole shooter is 4 amps. My Sawzall is 6 amps. I actually do believe, yeah. My worm drive is 8 amps, but my Milwaukee 9-inch disc grinder is 15 amps. That's a monster. And go ahead, ask me a question. Yeah. Okay. There's, let's see what your name is. Hey, buddy. That's the name of your channel. Hey, buddy. So, just let me start off like this. If an American building inspector could somehow see the total construction from start to finish of 90% of the construction in the Philippines, okay, if they could watch 100% of the construction in the Philippines now, today, 90% of it would get condemned and stopped. A stop work order would go in place, and a stop work order and remove, a stop work order and demolish, a stop work order would go into place immediately. If they had the ability to look through a crystal ball and watch what happened from the very beginning. There'd be no doubt in my mind 90% of the jobs here in the Philippines would get condemned. But that's according to American code. They don't have codes here the same way they do in America. Let me give you one for instance, okay? If you know anything about construction and you're pouring a pad between the first floor and the second floor is going to be a 6-inch slab, right? Now, you also have vertical columns, and they're 16 by 16. Let's just say they're 16 by 16. So you have your rebar, you have your vertical column boxes, everything's tied up. Then you have your beam boxes, which are just below floor level. And your slab overlaps halfway over your beam box. Just saying that you're not going to pour all the rooms at once. But let's say, we'll pour them all at once. So your slab is running across the top of your beam box from one wall to the other, all the way front and back. Now, these guys will use a 1/3 bag mixer to fill up the column. They won't use a wand, a vibrating wand. They'll use a hammer on the outside of the form, which is okay. I mean, it's acceptable. You're still going to have bubbles, but it's acceptable. That's acceptable pretty much everywhere. They don't use form oil. Forget form oil. They don't have it. They don't make it. They don't buy it. They don't sell it. Now, so the vertical columns have no form oil in them at all. They didn't clean out the bottom of the vertical column, so all the sawdust and debris, because they put the column in place, wrapped it around the rebar, any dirt and dust that fell into the bottom of the column is now sitting on the ground level slab. So what does it matter? You know, not the way I would do it. So if that happened with me, I'd put a hole on an in hole and an out hole, 1.5 inches with an 1.5 inch bit, and I'd blow it out with a high pressure blower. But they don't do that. They just leave the debris at the bottom of the form. That's against the law. Okay. Now, they don't use form oil. They bang it with a hammer, and they go up halfway up to the second floor slab, and it's 4 o'clock, and they go home. That's it. They stop pouring it halfway up. Tomorrow they come back and they finish the pour. Well, that is totally wrong. But most people don't know why. It's called a non-monolithic pour. Now, can you do a non-monolithic pour? You can. If it's a non-monolithic pour and there's somehow or another, you can do that. I would not. I would only do monolithic pours, but they do it. So now they fill up the top of the column, and now they're doing the slab. Now this is, remember, hey buddy, so they're doing the slab, and they start putting concrete across room 1, room 1A, whatever, and they get halfway across the floor. Halfway across the floor. And they run out of cement or they run out of sand. And they stop. They just stop. And they order cement and concrete, Portland, and a few days later that stuff comes, and where the pour ended, it just, whatever was, they don't, there's no way to make it right, so take your choice. Do you stop it straight down? Do you feather it down and make a scarf joint out of the concrete? There's no way to make it right. It should be a monolithic pour. But they won't make it, so that they come back a few days later and they finish the pour. So now you have 2 completely different mixes, 2 completely different amounts of water in the mix. One is curing already for 3 days. One is just starting to cure. They're going to cure at different rates. And there's no form oil, and they just finish the pour. Here, that's acceptable. In America, not so much. It has to be a monolithic pour. So, if it's not monolithic, there's got to be some place where it breaks and then additional rebar at a minimum. But I talked about beam boxes before, right? I hate to show you this. I can show you this. I have a video. Okay, so the beam box they're using 6 bar for the perimeter, and they're using 3 bar for the hoops, square hoops. Okay, and they have the beam box hanging from column number 1 to column number 2, and they build the beam box out of rebar. Okay, then they build a wooden box around the iron, the rebar beam box. The rebar itself, they build a wooden box around it. The law says in America, 3 times the thickness of the bar closest to the wood has to be cement. So if you're using 6 bar, 3/4 inch bar, if you're using 6 bar, 3/4 of an inch plus 3/4 of an inch plus 3/4 of an inch is 2 1/4 inches of concrete on one side of the beam box, 2 1/4 across the bottom, and 2 1/4 back up. And then you bring your monolithic floor port slabs over the beam box, and you have your tie downs for the beam box. It would all be monolithic. It would be built completely different than they build here, but they don't do that here. But so I have pictures of the beam box is built. The cage is 9 inches wide and the beam box is 10 inches wide. That leaves a ½ inch of concrete on both sides. But they didn't hang the cage center, which would be impossible anyway. It only leaves you a ½ inch. And the beam box is not hung up at all. The beam box sets on the plywood, the bottom of the beam box plywood. Is that U.S. code? So the beam box for 60 feet sits on the plywood, and every hoop for 60 feet, every 4 inches, when the beam box comes off, every hoop for 60 feet, every 4 inches is burnt right through the concrete. There's no concrete because the rebar was sitting on the bottom of the beam box. So what did they do to fix that? They painted the rebar with a kind of like white stucco. Not stucco. They didn't put like a quarter, just white stucco paint. And that covered the rebar, but after 3 days, the rebar burnt through the white stucco paint. So when the inspector came, he got rich that day, and they passed the job. Could you get away with that in America? I don't think so. I just don't think you could. So they don't have codes like they have in America. So number one should have been 2 1/4 inches all the way around. The beam box has to be hung with wire or hung up out of the bottom of the beam box with on something, hang it from something. Got to be hung up. Got to be 2 1/4 inches of or more. You could put 3 inches. It don't matter. But you can't have it touching the beam box. So on one side of the beam box, every 4 inches, on the side, every 4 inches, the hoops burnt through the concrete. So 60 feet times 4 per foot, 240 hoops touched the side of the wooden beam box, 240 rebar burns on the side, 240 rebar burns on the bottom. On the other side had 1 inch of concrete, which is not to code. Even the code is the same here, but here they'll pass it. In America they won't. I don't know. Does that answer your question? I'm not real familiar with HVAC. I mean, I was partners with a guy that did the HVAC. I did the finished carpentry. Al did the rough-end carpentry, and John did the HVAC. I know about flared gas fittings, high-pressure flaring. In America, Con Ed uses compression couplings for gas, but I'm not familiar with the codes. No. If I saw it, I would know how to do it, but I wouldn't know the codes to it. HVAC is another field altogether. Okay, so the cement blocks are only 4 inches wide. So I'm going to get you that video right now to show you I'm going to get you that video. I have to dig deep for this one. It's on another channel, and I don't actually remember the name of the other channel. I'm going to show you that I'm telling you the truth. And this got passed, no problem. But the inspector got rich that day. Switch account. I'm switching accounts. I don't know how this is going to work with a live stream going on. Okay, so I don't even know that my live stream is still on. So hold on. I'm gonna find that video. I got to go to my other channel, and I'm not going to give you the name of the video. What is the name of that video? Let's try Beams. Beams. Let's try Beam. No. Burning steel. Here it is. Popped right up. Okay. I don't know what part of the video it is. I'm going to have
this, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope. Okay, we're not going to show that. Let's try that. Okay. Here it is. Just to let you know. There's the burning steel. Every 4 inches for 60 feet. It's a public video, but I don't want to. I don't want to. That's 60 feet of burnt steel. In the front of the building, 60 feet in the back of the building, and then 24 feet every 15 feet wide, the whole building. So there's 120 feet and 5 times 24. It's 250 feet of burnt rebar, 3 sides. $750 burnt rebar, and on one job, on one floor. Now, I don't care that they did that, and neither did the inspector, but they did it. So, when you think about this, that's 750 burnt bars on one job, on one pour, on one floor. Plus, all the vertical columns were all burnt on 2 sides because they never hung. They never hung the steel in any way, shape, or form. So that video is gone. You won't ever be able to see that video again. So I have no use for that. But they have no rules here. Now, if you're an HVAC contractor, then you're a lot smarter than the average person, because that requires the understanding of cubic foot, BTUs, airflow, CFMs. I know about that stuff because I learned it in school for aircraft mechanics, but I never did specifically HVAC. You got to know how big your registers are and how big your horizontal runs are, stuff like that. Stuff I don't know anything about that, really. The answer to your question is I really don't know about that. So let's go back. Let me go back to I don't know if my live stream is even still on, if I'm still talking to anybody. Okay, let me go back to my live stream. Okay, Ant Farmer, hey, thanks again for your your generous donation. Thank you, Ann Farmer. Hey, buddy, with your knowledge, would you be nervous as an expat to have a local builder build a home for you, knowing what you know? No, I would never. No, I would never let a local builder build anything for me, ever, under any circumstances. Unless I'm on the job, watching what happened. And you have to be on the job, because you have no idea what it's like. You're going to get... First of all, the job behind me right now, they built a beautiful house. The people own a huge supply corporation, company, big, 2 huge buildings. They sell supplies, hardware store. They're very, very wealthy people. They had 26 people. 26 people. 26 people. For 4 months, 26 people to build a house about 22 feet deep and 50 feet wide. 2 floors. 26 people to do the concrete work, the block work, put the roof on, the electric and the plumbing. Then they had 6 men. They covered the ceiling with wood. Why, I don't know, because it's a termite-infested country. But they did a beautiful job. Don't get me wrong. But that took 6 or 7 weeks for 2 men to do the ceiling on just 1 floor. They built a beautiful wooden staircase. Street life in the Philippines. That's Ben Newton. Welcome to the machine, Ben Newton. Hello, Ben. So, but now, the woman and the man who own the supply companies, they came every morning at 7 o'clock. They brought the men. Then they had a guy, they had to have a guy cook breakfast for the 26 men. I don't know if that's part of the job. They always try to get you for snacks. They always try to get you to buy them breakfast. And they want you to buy them lunch, and they want you to buy them snacks in the afternoon. I don't know that I'm going to do that. I think I'll just pay them a little bit more money, take it out of everybody's pay. And then I'll pay for the food, but it'll come out of your pay. Because they want you to pay them their salary, plus almost unlimited. They want breakfast. They want to have eggs and rice and vegetables. So those people had a man. Hey, Rich, thanks for stopping by. And Ben, thank you. Those people had a cook that came in. Now, all he did was cook. When he was done with breakfast, he did the dishes and started preparing lunch. So they gave them breakfast and lunch and snacks at 10 o'clock and snacks at 2 o'clock. But the ladies stayed on the job all day. And they worked all day. No offense, but they worked like ants on a farm. They busted their butt all day. She would leave, nothing would get done for 5 hours of an 8-hour day. Nothing. They just sat there and did nothing. So, I have to be on the job. Now, I would not let a Philippines contractor run the show. No. All right, so Rich Buwang, very famous. Let's see if we could get his very famous blogger, Rich Buwang is. He's one of the best. I gotta find you. All right, here we go. He's one of the best creators on YouTube. There's no way you're gonna find anybody with more skills equal to that of DNC. I don't know what the total cost of that house was. I have no idea. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Hey, buddy. Let me go to this guy's channel, Rich's channel. Add as a moderator. It doesn't show me your channel. Report, remove, pin, put time. I don't know why it won't show me your channel. Rich Buwang. Let's go here. It's not going to your channel. All right, I'll have to do it differently. I could do it another way. Okay.
Smart traders never miss a beat.
RICHBUANG 2. This guy, Rich, he's good. He's really good at making. Let's go to work. Here, we're on the clock here. Ben Newton, one of the most honest people on YouTube, actually. All kidding aside. So, Fat Fazio's swollen testicle. Let's give you
At some point, my left.
At some point, this is true. See that peanut butter jar? At some point, my left testicle was as big or bigger than that peanut butter jar for the last year and a half. It's much better now. So let's give you the link to that. And then you go to Rich Buang's channel and subscribe to his channel. Because he's a real creator. He dresses me up like a girl with diapers and stuff like that. That kind of stuff don't bother me because I know it's not part of my lifestyle. It's kind of very creative, actually. But some people would take offense to that because some people are really sissies in real life. I'm not a sissy in real life. So here's Rich Buang's channel. You want to watch a funny video? This is the one he made about me wearing diapers and how big my testicle was. I had a major surgery 3 weeks ago yesterday. I had a surgery. I could show it to you. I think I will. Let's go to my, let's just go, let's go here, and let's go to my channel. Let me show you how big my scar is. Some people thought it was orthoscopic surgery, but it's not. It's a 7.5 inch scar that they say is going to take 6 months to a year to heal. All right? I don't know that I want to remain neutral for 6 months to a year, but that's what they say. So here's the scar right here. I didn't have a ruler, and the doctor was getting ready to take the stitches out, and the place was really busy, but that's the scar. It goes from over here, wraps around, and comes up here and goes a little further than the picture. It's about 7.5 inches long. So they had to, inside my left testicle, which was about this big, maybe bigger, my small intestine had squeezed out of my abdomen, my body, and into my left testicle. So when I say that my left testicle was this big, it was filled with my small intestine. That's the truth. And it took a year and 3 months to get a date for an operation. Because there's only, well, I don't know how many doctors do it, but they only have the operating room available. And if it's elective surgery, you have to wait for the day that two doctors, this operation required 2 doctors. You have to wait for 2 doctors to be available, and then an anesthesiologist, and then several other people. So it was not. Thank you very much, buddy. Hey, buddy. Yeah, that was It was really interesting. I got to be awake for that too. I got to be, and right here is my grind area. So they cut, when they were done cutting, what happens for this type of operation, I'll turn this around. When they do this type of operation, you want to talk about scary stuff. So immediately after the surgery, everything was about the normal size. The testicles, and there was no swelling from the wound, and no leakage at all, ever. Nothing, not even one drop leaked out of that stitching. They did a great job. But about 2 days after the operation, both my testicles were almost the same size as a soccer ball. I woke up going, I was not the happy camp. I couldn't even walk. I had to walk with my legs out like that, like bow-legged, and that was scary. I called up the hospital. Of course, I said, "Look, not for nothing, but my testicles are big," and he said, "Yeah, that's normal." I'm going, "What's normal? That I would make a mountain goat jealous?" So he kind of laughed. He goes, "Maybe. I'll see you on the 11th." So he wasn't worried about it. So if he's not worried about it, I wasn't worried about it. And then my friend sent me an article, Red Horse. Red Horse sent me, "Welcome to the Testicle Festival." The Testicle Festival. It sounds like that guy, what is he? That guy, not Gomez Adams. The Testicle Festival. Yeah, thanks, Scott. So my friend sent me an article where the testicles will swell up bigger than, they use the grapefruit. Mine went way bigger than that. I was like, but by the 11th, they were going back down. So it was a trip, man. Uncle Festival, Testicle. Welcome to the Festival Festival. That was a good one, Scott. Scott is the wordsmith. So Ben Newton, how the heck are you, man? I haven't talked to you in years. The last time I saw you in a show, you were actually in Alona Beach. I don't go to Alona Beach, but I saw you in Alona Beach, and then you were leaving, and then you were in Vietnam. How did you like Vietnam, Ben? I loved it there. I wish I wasn't sick. I think the people in Vietnam, you could give me your opinion, I'm waiting, but I mean, I thought the people in Vietnam my understanding of Vietnam was wrong. I thought that they would have animosity towards Americans for what we did to them in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. I was not in the service at the time, or nor was I ever in the service, but I thought that they would be mad at Americans and would treat us with disdain, but they treated me perfect, man. I actually, every person was hello and very friendly, and if they could speak English. I had a fella, I was lost. I was sick, and I got lost, and I walked down. I wasn't able to walk. I was sick. I was not able to walk far. And I walked down the wrong block, and I wasn't really thinking straight because I was very sick. And I walked about 3-4 blocks out of the way in the wrong direction after I was 6 blocks out of the way already. And I said to somebody, "Look, how do I get back to my hotel?" And some guy walked up to me, handed me a can of beer, because he heard a woman said, "Wait a minute," went into the building. Guy walked out with a can of beer, handed me a cold can of beer, which I did not drink, and he said, "Get on my motorcycle." And he had a motorcycle right there and drove me right to my hotel. And then I took out like 5,000 dong, and he would not take it. He would not take it. So why don't you let me do that to you, John Fisher? which you just got blocked, by the way. But how about you give me permission to do that to you? Because you're a troll, right? So let's see let's prove that John Fisher is a troll. And then we're going to block him. Okay, let's go to his channel. And I will bet he has nothing on his channel. Yes, he has nothing on his channel. 7 subscribers, 32 worthless videos that you can't even see. Channels, doesn't subscribe to any channels. Yep, you're a worthless troll. So we'll show you how to block him, how you block somebody. You go to their channel, go to that where it says home videos playlists, go to the about button right there. About. What's going to happen is you're going to see a flag down here. It's under the flag, it's going to say block user, and then it's going to say submit, and he's blocked. And now he'll have to start another channel if he wants to say something on my channel, another trolling comment. But I suggest you start another channel and give me permission to do to you what happened to me. Because I don't think you got what it takes to let me do to you. And then you can find out whether or not it hurt or not. I'm happy to, and I'll tell you what. I was only going to do it for free to that punk Jeff Swift and the worthless blogger Jailbird Barry Jourdain. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw your so-called slap in for free too, okay? How's that sound? If you ask me to do to you what happened to me, if you ask me nice, I'll do it for free. I won't even charge you. Troll. That's what we need. Eventually, I'll just have all the trolls blocked, right? Eventually, there'll just be no more trolls. So, I guess Ben Newton left. But, yeah, Ben lived, so when I went to Vietnam what a friendly place. I never met, they're just as friendly. The only difference how friendly they are, they're as friendly as the people in the Philippines when you're going into their business to have lunch. They're very cordial. The difference is when you go into a restaurant in the Philippines, you'll order a meal. You know, like you do in the Philippines. But they'll come over and most of them speak a little bit of English, and they'll say, "Sir, have you ever tasted dragon fruit?" No. And they have one in their hand. They say, "Sir, this is compliments of the owner of the restaurant," without asking for anything. The difference is when I ordered 4 heroes, I forgot how much the heroes were. They were 25 dong, I think, 25 D-O-N-G. That's their monetary. So you order 4, and the woman is making a 5th hero, and you say, ma'am, only 4. Yes, okay, 5, no charge. They give you something for your patronage. Of course, I went back to that woman at least one more time. Of course, I went back to the restaurant. They gave me a free dragon fruit, but they offer you something for free as a thank you for using their restaurant. I actually quite like Vietnam. There's no water there. There's no beaches like where I live. Look, this is where I live. Right here, I stand up, I turn the camera around, and there's the beach right there. And it's high tide, and that's the Bohol Sea. And that's 160 feet from where I am right now. And that's my view from the window. Now, in Vietnam, I don't know that you could have a view like that, but I'm here now 8 years, and this is where I'll stay. And but had I known what it was like to live here 8 years ago, not just Bohol, but in the Philippines, I don't know that I would have moved to the Philippines. I'm not sure if I would have done that or not. There were a lot of other places that I could have moved to. I could have moved to the Bahamas. Okay, I could have moved to Cat Island. So Cat Island was a beautiful island, undeveloped. And I could have moved there because I already had a business, a friend of mine that I sold a lot of equipment to. My barge, my crane, my pile driver, about $150,000 worth of equipment. And I could have stayed on Cat Island and had a job for $800 a week the next day, building Orange Creek Marina. You know, I guess he finished it. The guy's name is Nicholas Cripps, Cripps. Cripps might show up as a banking institution in England. That was his father. So I think I might have, if I knew what it was like to live in the Philippines, I think I would have went to Cat Island in the Bahamas and lived there. I don't think I would have moved to the Philippines. It's just not. That would have been a lot closer to America. I would have had a job for $800 a week. I would have been running my crane and barge and backhoes and trackhoes and dredging equipment, doing bulkheads and decks and docks. Just what I wanted to do. Just what I did my whole life. Here, they limit you to what you could do for work-wise. I don't think I would have moved here. I was only in Vietnam 8 days. 8 days. No, I'm wrong about that. I had 6 days of quarantine, and I was there for 6 days before I got quarantined. 12 days. 12 days. But when I got quarantined, I did not quarantine myself. I went out and about. And so I was there 12 days. Not long enough. To be honest with you, there was stuff that I wanted to see. And I just I was sick the whole time. Even when they passed me for my COVID test, that was a gift. I should have been there for another month. The Atlantis sounds nice when you describe it. Yeah. It's a beautiful. You should look up the prices before you try to make a decision like that, Scott. The rooms are probably $1,000 a piece now. I'll look it up for you. Atlantis. I'm gonna look. Let's take a look. I went to this hotel. I was telling Tuna Kahuna about that. I stayed there for 10 days at rooms cost. Okay, I think they're $700 each room. I paid $500 in 2001. So let's just say June 1st. Show prices. Oh, check in. June 1st, check out. June 2nd, search. Boy, am I wrong about that? Oh, this is a guest house. No, we want to stay in Atlantis proper. That's not the Atlantis Hotel. That's a guest house called Shades of Grey. All right, let's go back. They got to make everything difficult. Yeah, that's not the Atlantis Hotel. Why can't they just make stuff easy? Okay, Atlantis. You're gonna have to do this, Scott. I don't want to. Atlantis Hotel. Atlantis Hotel in Dubai. Atlantis in China, Bahamas. Okay, let's see about that. Here we go. Paradise Island. Okay. Resort, luxury resort, stay, royal rooms and suites. Okay. I stayed in room 7042. I'll tell you exactly what room I was in. Let's get a... This room right here, right there, that was the room I stayed in. It was on the left side of the building, and right over here is the shark and stingray pool. And behind here is the ocean. Well, let's see how we do this. So this was on the 7th floor, dead center. And right there was the tidal pool, right here. Make a reservation. Check in, check out. So let's check in on June 3rd. Sold out. Okay, let's check in on June 13th. So let's see what happens. Okay, gotta select 3 nights. Whoa, my mistake. So they have a 3-night minimum. Royal rooms and suites. Okay, check in. Check in on the 13th. Check out on the 16th. Search. This was a beautiful hotel. 613 to 616. Okay, we're halfway there. I was right. $775 per night. Yeah, because I paid $500. But now we're gonna go down, and I bet your breakfast is $55 to $75 for the buffet. The Reef Atlantis is $800 a night, but I didn't stay there. I stayed at the Royal. So let's see if we can find. I bet you breakfast is $60 a day. So average room is $775, Scott. And I stayed right here. Those are the Royal Suites. Included access, daily access to the water park, $190 per adult. But that's free. Unlimited. Okay, so that's free. The rooms that I stayed in were $500 a night, but for some reason they were half price. So there was actually $1,000 a night to stay in this room right here. Now I'm trying to find out for breakfast, because breakfast is not included. Nowhere does it say breakfast is included. Breakfast. Let's see if there's a search engine somewhere. Now, there's no way that breakfast is included. They don't want to scare you off. Show more. Still no breakfast. Yeah, breakfast, I think I paid $55 for breakfast and $55 for dinner. But the food there may be the best in the world. And I'm not even making that up. They have maybe the best chefs in the whole world. The pastries, everything was so good, it was just hard to believe. All right, so it's $800. Scott, you better bring somebody special there. And $800 a night. Yeah. Are you still thinking about going to the Atlantis, Scott? By now you probably have thought, midgets are half price. I was thinking about that. No way. Remember what I told you when you look down at the midget, what you're going to be thinking of? So, imagine that. Imagine paying $800 a night. And but. No, I never went to Bimini. I went to Bimini by boat for a couple of hours one day. But I didn't go to Bimini and hang out on Bimini. We went there for lunch. And, no, I didn't travel around the Bahamas that much. I went to Cat Island because I sold the business to a guy on Cat Island. I went to Paradise Island because I took my mother on vacation. I went to Bimini for lunch one day for a couple of hours. 3 or 4 hours we were there. And that was it. The Bahamas didn't interest me. Florida Keys is way nicer than the Bahamas. I lived right on the water, on a deep water canal, and I had my own ocean racer. So, water's in the Bahamas that I already didn't have in the Florida Keys. Weather is the same. The beaches are the same. And it's not really, some place that I wanted to go. I mean, no, I never went to Bimini Island except for lunch. And I didn't live in Key West. I did live in Key Largo. I lived in Big Pine Key. I lived on Marathon Key. And Marathon Key, Key Largo, Big Pine Key. I spent a lot of time in Key West, probably every other night for 6 months I spent in Key West. Because I lived on Big Pine Key, there was nothing to do there. Nothing at all. Big Pine Key, nothing to do. Big Pine Key is where you go to do nothing, and that's what you get when you go to Big Pine Key. There's nothing. There's a pizzeria. That was the talk of the town, the pizzeria. The pizza was garbage. At the time, smoking was still allowed. There was so much smoke in the pizzeria that at about the 6-foot mark, you had to bend down under the smoke inside the pizzeria. Not kidding you. That's how much smoke. Hey, good day, Michelle, Michael. Okay, good day. Mike L. Good day. Good day to wherever you are. So, no, but I lived on Boca Chica Naval Air Force Station. I didn't live on the station, but where did I live when I was there? I spent 3 months at Boca Chica Naval Air Force Station doing putting a ground wire in for the radar towers and electrical wires for the ground wires for all the fencing all the fencing had to be grounded for electrical, and all the towers had to be grounded. It took 3 months. Where the heck did I stay for that? I actually think I stayed in Key Largo, and I would travel back and forth every day. That's what I did. I didn't stay down on the Naval Air Force Station. I didn't sleep in the truck. That's for sure. I could have a few nights, but I didn't rent a room in Key West. Everybody else rented a room in Key West, but I had already been burnt out on Key West long before I worked at Boca Chica Naval Air Force Station. Key West is... When I went there in 95, beautiful place. But then they built it up. Too many... Everything changed. I mean, when I went to Key West in 95, if you got completely freaking hammered and drove home and got stopped, they just let you go. But by the time I worked there in 2004, I didn't drink anymore anyway, but the Florida Keys became a police state from the time I moved to the Florida Keys. Within the next 10 years, it was... When I moved to the when I first went to the Florida Keys in 1973, I stayed there a few weeks. Then I went again in 1980 for about a month. There was one police officer in Key West, Sheriff Rick Scott. Sheriff Rick Scott. He was the only police officer in the Florida Keys in Key West. That's it. There was just one police officer. By the time I went to Key West, by the time of 2005, this is going back to in the 70s. There was just one sheriff, and he became worth $100 or $200 or $300 million because of what was going on. But by 2005, there was one police officer for every mile of road, 100 between Key Largo and Key West. Yeah, it's nice there. There's no doubt for a vacation. Really nice, but it's a beautiful place, Key West. I mean, it's different. All the Sunset Festival, it's an amazing place. I mean, really. But you got to remember, I went there every other night for 4, 3, 5, 6 months, 2 or 3, 4 times a week. I even operated a gondola, a real gondola, an Italian gondola, with a guy. He had a gondola, and he was said I applied for a job as a gondola captain. I couldn't do it though. I'm not strong enough to paddle a big boat like that. The damn things weigh 3 tons. It was like 36 foot long. The thing weighed like 5,000 pounds. But he had an assist motor, an electric motor. And I did that for a while, a couple of weeks, but it was just too hard. There wasn't much money in it anyway. But I operated a gondola. I have pictures of me and my dad on the gondola. Me running the gondola in the back. I was a gondola captain for about 3 weeks. That was pretty cool. I have those. You know what I should do? I got to write this down. I should go out and get those pictures while I'm not able to work. I should just get the pictures of this. I have like 7,000 pictures. There it is right here. Got a book here. That's not the book I want. This is the book I want. Brushes, suitcase starter. Okay. Yeah, I was a gondola captain. Let me go. I got to write this down. I'm not supposed to walk around outside. They don't really want me walking around, but pictures. Pictures. 7,000. I'll grab a couple of my hard drives and I'll look for those gondola pictures with me and my dad. My dad used to stay with me. My dad knew more about the Florida Keys than I ever did, and I ever would, that I ever will. My dad's been going to the Florida Keys since he was 17 years old. Every year, every winter, almost his whole life. And when I was a little kid, my dad was a tugboat captain, and in the winter, well, when there was no work, let's put it like that, if a big job ended, and it might be 2 months before he got another job, he'd disappear. I didn't know where he went. Went to the Florida Keys. He lived in Key West. He lived in Ohio Key. He lived in Alamorada Key, Ohio Key, Key West. And he lived there since he was 17 years old. He'd been going to Florida. So when I moved there in 1995, I was living on Big Pine Key, and my dad came down to stay with me for 2 months. I had a beautiful apartment on the water, $600 a month. Oh, what a beautiful place. And he goes, come on, let's take a ride. So let's go, let's ride. We both have nothing to do. So we went he goes, let's go head up to Islamorada. So we did, and he goes, and I knew Islamorada like the back of my hand because I spent a lot of time in Islamorada. He goes, make a left at the Key Lantern Hotel. It's a little hotel on the side of the road, and there's probably about 100 cottages in the back there. I had explored it, but I didn't even know where I was. I just was driving around. You make a left at the Key Lantern Hotel. So I said, okay. So we went, I made a left. We go down that block, make a right. And I did, and there was Marjorie Redmond and Jimmy Redmond and Lucy Lucy Karagosian, and her brother, I forgot her brother's name. And who else was there? Marie Calise, Frankie Calise. Like all of the people that I grew up with in Hamilton Beach or Howard Beach, was probably 25 people. And I pulled up and I'm going, that's Lucy Karagosian. That's Marjorie Redmond. Because they lived across the street from my grandmother. They were my childhood friends. All these people, the sons, the daughters, I knew everybody. And that's where my dad went, to the Key Lantern Hotel. And that's where he lived all winter. I never knew that. So that was fun. He knew more people in the Florida Keys than I ever did. And matter of fact, Lucy Karagosian had an uncle. You all know who Lucy Karagosian. I got to tell you something. Everybody on this channel that's watching this channel right now knows Lucy Karagosian's uncle. Okay? Dr. Kevorkian. Dr. Kevorkian, the real Dr. Kevorkian, was Lucy Karagosian's uncle. Now, I may have met him as a kid because he hung out in Howard Beach. I don't remember. They say I did, but I don't really remember seeing him. But he lived at the Karagosian's house on 165th Avenue in Hamilton Beach for the summers because it was a beautiful beach right behind the house. But Dr. Kevorkian, the real Dr. Kevorkian, the Doctor of Doom, he lived and he used to go to Key Lantern Hotel, and he would hang out there. That was funny. My dad knew everybody. Yeah, hey buddy, yeah, you know what? I lived in a concrete house, 8-inch concrete block wall, 6-inch concrete floor slab, 6 inches of concrete roof, and I had 200 plus mile-an-hour hurricane shutters on every window and door, top and bottom. When they used to say evacuate the Florida Keys, I closed the curtains and went to sleep. Done deal. The worst storm that I went through was in 2005. 175 to 190 mile an hour winds, I closed the doors and I went to sleep. The doors would rattle like that. They were good for 200 miles an hour, and then nothing happened to them. Even at 200 miles an hour, nothing is going to happen to them. They were rated at 200, so that would mean they would need 300 to affect them. Yeah, I lived, and I never left the Florida Keys for a storm. One time in '95, when I lived in an apartment, I did, but I had to go to New York anyway. But when I lived in Key Largo, I had storm shutters, and I lived in a concrete house. If the water came up in the basement, when the storm was over, the wind stopped, I went downstairs and washed out the basement with a hose, and we were done. You put water in the outlets, and before the storm, I would pick up the refrigerator and put it on top of the bed, and I'd put all the cushions on the bed so I'd get it 3 feet off the floor, put a piece of plywood on top of the cushions. I put the refrigerator and the stove up on top. The hot water heater, I would just shut off the electric. When it dried out, you turn it back on. Yeah, but I never left the Florida Keys. The wooden cabinets didn't take the water so well, but yeah, I lived in a real nice house. So I wrote it down for pictures. So let's see, what else was I going to talk about today? It's in the title. I think I'll leave the rest of that for another day, because I am going in deep on that guy who completely destroyed Shah's self-worth. I mean, I would imagine, because 2 days later she took down all of Barry Jourdain's pictures. He has no moral turpitude at all. But I have to make a proper... First of all, you see all these tabs on the top here? I have probably 28, 30 tabs open. I got to go through those tabs and get rid of them. Some of them, most of them. Those tabs all have to do with, mostly with the giant ego guy. Thibodeau, hello. Exilus Thibodeau, hello Michael, looking good, thank you. Actually, Scott said that yesterday. I don't know. See, because when you look at yourself every day, you don't notice it, but I did lose weight. I was 238 kilos on January 1st. For my operation, I was 219 kilos. I think I lost more weight since May 2nd. I think I did. My pants are a little bit looser, and I feel thinner. Yes, well, yeah, well, you could see 19 kilos you're going to see right away, but I think I lost more since then. I'm on a strict diet. I was on the carnivore diet where I only ate pork, eggs, and some leafy vegetables just to get things moving. But my ankles were swelling up. Matter of fact, I gotta pick this up right now. Okay, so my ankles were swelling up so big they would go from 11 and a half inches, which is what they're supposed to be, to 13 and a half inches, 2.5 inches of swell. That's that big. And they're normally this big. So I thought it was the salt, and then I thought it was the patis and the soy sauce. But when I took Daisy and her sister on vacation for 3 days, I did not eat any pork. And one day I woke up and my ankle was back to the normal size. So one day I woke up after 3 days of not eating any pork and my ankle was back to a normal size. I had no idea why that happened. I am having problems with my phone, though. Man. So, the got to be something, some reason that my feet are swelled up. So when I came back after I got out of the hospital, I had pork again. My ankle swelled back up. And I said to myself, maybe I'm allergic to pork. Well, Scott said that. So I stopped eating pork since May 10th. So for 11 days, I haven't had any pork. I only eat eggs and cheese, and the swelling went down. So I have a lot of pork in the refrigerator. But that's what was making my leg is back to a normal size. My calves are normally, I don't know, 16 and a half, 17 inches. I always had big calf muscles. But when I measured them, the day I stopped eating pork, they were 21 and a half inches. That's 4.5 inches of swollen. They were that big. That's when you look down at them, you'd say, what's going on down there? And then since I stopped eating pork, they went back down to a normal size. That's true. Now, I had stopped eating pork fat. Pork cartel. I had stopped eating pork fat because my blood pressure went from relatively normal. When I went back on the carnivore diet in January, my blood pressure went from like 120 over 90 to 165 over 120. So somebody on YouTube said stop eating pork fat, and the doctor said it the next day. I stopped eating pork fat, and my blood pressure's down to 130 over 110. I think that was the last time I checked it. With no medicine. With medicine, it was 165 over 130 sometimes. So I stopped eating pork fat, but my legs were still swelled up. So then when I stopped eating pork, now my blood is down to 120 over 90 without the medicine. Back to normal. You have to experiment when your body is not working the way it's supposed to work. So now I'm just eating eggs. And when I say eggs, talking about 6 eggs and 4 ounces of cheese twice a day. That's it, nothing else. And I got to be losing weight because I'm not working. The doctor doesn't even want me to walk on the beach. He said, just give it 66 months and then you could start walking again. But I'm not gonna be able to do that. But I can't go back to work for 6 to 8 months. That's for sure. He said a year, but I can't imagine muscles taking more than 6 months to heal. I'll look it up online. Yeah, well, the not eating pork, I don't miss it. And I wish my diet would vary more, but there's no such thing as red meat in the Philippines. It's red rubber. It looks like meat, but it's rubbery. There's no taste to it. It's grass-fed beef, and it tastes like rubber. There's no taste to it, and it's chewy like rubber. I'm not kidding you. It's $10 a kilo, which is Flying circus is in the house. Oh, flying. That guy's a troll, I guess. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Flying circus. So, I guess you know better than me. Thank you. So, thank you for stopping by. So, I'm not gonna eat pork again. I have, 15 kilos in the freezer. Oh, you bumped your phone. Okay. Yeah, he didn't seem to be a troll. Let's get him back then. Okay, I got him back. He should be back. I unhid him. I'm sorry about that. Exodus Theodore. That was a mistake. There's no edges to grab. I have one of those. I'm looking at my phone right now. I'm very upset about my phone. Hide user, unhide user. So if that man leaves another comment, you should be able to see him. We're sorry. That was a mistake to block you. Exodus. Yeah, you're back. Hey, he's the one with the killer clown thumbnail. Yeah, you're back. He made a mistake. I thought maybe he knew you were a troll. My moderators, they have full control. If they know something I don't know, and they block somebody, I just say thank you. I don't argue with my moderators. I trust all of them. It's okay. Thank you. Yeah, no, because there's trolls on other channels. You might get a guy that's talking like that punk Jeffrey Swift, right? He's always talking about that he's happy that I got beat up and he's happy that I was attacked and he thought it was funny. And then he might come on my channel and say hello. He won't anymore. But that's just the kind of guy he is. He's got two faces and neither one of them do I like anymore. In fact, I made him an offer that he shouldn't refuse. He should come here, write it down on a piece of paper that he wants me to do the same thing that happened to me to him and relinquish all pain and suffering that may occur from the event. And I'll do that to him for free. Jeff, punk. Okay? Yeah, like that. So, thank you. So, I got trolls. I go to other people's channels, and the one thing that people don't understand about me is I read almost every comment on every video that's posted. Not every one, but almost every comment. So if you're knocking me down, like that slob in Kentucky who calls himself the Big Kevin Media, he's not a blogger. He's not entertaining. He's just a sarcastic, hateful little man, or big man. And his show is based on bringing together a bunch of people, and typically they'll just talk about everybody. But he thought it was also funny when I got attacked from the rear, and he calls it a smack. Hey, Big Kevin, I tell you what, I'll make the same offer to you, Big Kevin. How about you come here, when you come to the Philippines, which you're never coming to the Philippines. You said you were coming to the Philippines to see your children, and you're begging for money under the pretense that you're coming to the Philippines to see your children, except your children live in Australia. Everybody knows this. So you stop begging for that pretense, but you'll take money to get back to the Philippines. So what are you coming back to the Philippines for? For what reason? What are you going to do here? You can't walk. You're basically crippled, that you can't walk more than a few hundred feet. You can't drink. because you're on medication. You are unable to swim or do any kind of exercise. The heat here from April till August is going to kill you because you're just so out of shape from sitting in a chair for the last 7 or 8 years doing nothing. What are you coming back to the Philippines for? But if you do, I'll tell you what, I'm going to expand my offer. You come back here, we'll fill out a contract. You'll ask me on video to please do to you what was done to me. You'll face away from me. You'll sit in a chair and you'll wait for me to do to you what was done to me. And if you get up, if you're not knocked unconscious or seriously more than that, in the contract is going to be that you relinquish any and all pain and suffering as that you asked for it. So let's do that, big mouth. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do it. You think it's so funny? Let's make a video of you being assaulted from the rear. Boom, boom, boom. Just 3 shots. I'll only hit you 3 times. And if you get up, then you'll have a video to show your family how funny it was that it happened to me. And then you'll have a video of how funny it was that it happened to you. Because you're a worthless subhuman blogger. That's what you are. What have you contributed to society in the Philippines blogging genre in 10 years? You don't have any videos of the Philippines. You said you owned a pool hall, which is basically a pool table. Do you have any videos of that? No. Do you have any videos of your family? Never saw them. Do you have any videos of, you said you owned an internet shop. Do you have any videos of that? No. You have any current videos of the Philippines? No. What are you coming back to the Philippines for? You're just an e-beggar with the biggest e-beggar. You're the biggest e-beggar by weight. You're the biggest e-beggar in the Philippines vlogging genre. Worthless, too, in my opinion. Not for their steaks he's coming back. The steaks here are... there is a way to get good meat here. Exilus thribodu. Exilus thribodu. You have to buy meat. Well, I don't know that you could buy meat from Australia. I think there's a market up in Poblacion that I live near, about 2 miles away, that has meat imported from Australia. Now, if you import that meat, it's like $25 a pound. I heard years ago there was I know the supermarket, I've never been in there, because I'm not willing to pay $25 a pound for meat. But I think that's what it was 5 years ago, $25 a pound for Australian beef. The chicken, I can't eat the chicken. I love the chicken. The barbecue chicken, but they, in the spices that they put inside the hull of the chicken, they put MSG, Magic Maserat, they call it. It's MSG. I can't eat it. But I can't eat the chicken even if it doesn't have that in. If I buy raw chicken in the supermarket, something that they put in the feed, if I eat that, my feet swell up. I have not had a piece of chicken. I have not bought a chicken in the supermarket in 5 years. My legs swell up like this within a couple of hours. I can't even walk. If I have shoes on, I have to take them off. So whatever chemicals they're putting in the chicken, I can't eat the chicken, but I can eat the eggs. Flying Circus says I also stopped eating Peter V. Jr. I also stopped eating pork. I replaced it with San Marano, corned tuna, and chicken tocino with boiled eggs. Hey, Peter V., thanks for stopping by. Well, I had to stop. I never thought about stopping eating pork, but I looked at my leg one day. It was 21 and a half inches from 16 the week before, my calf muscle. It was completely bizarre looking. My leg was so deformed. And I says, I got to stop eating something because something, and it was the pork. So you're eating San Marino corned tuna and chicken tocino. Now, chicken tocino they have in the frozen, am I right about, I've seen chicken tocino in the frozen meat department. And boiled eggs. Oh, I eat eggs. I'm eating 6 eggs for each meal, twice a day or 3 times a day. And then corn chicken, San Marino corned. I'm going to check that out right now. San Marino corned tuna. I'm gonna put that down on the list, actually. You know what? You know what I saw last week? I saw tuna fish three pounds, I think it was. Here, this is corn tuna is not fishy. I'm looking at the tuna. I'm gonna write down tuna fish. Thanks for making me think about that. I saw tuna fish for the first time in 3-pound cans. I might try that. It was $10, 500 pesos, which is about the same price as pork. San Marino. Now here, San Marino tuna fish flakes spicy. San Marino corn tuna, 455 pesos. For 6 180 grams, 27 grams, 27.3 grams to the ounce. 27 divided in, say, 30 divided at 6. They're 6-ounce cans. 6 6-ounce cans for $10. So that's about 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds. 6 and 6 is 12. Yeah, that's about 2 pounds of fish for $10. So that's not a bad price. I'm gonna put down. I put down tuna fish. I saw tuna fish last week. I'll look for the San Marino, because that price that you're looking at there, it might be 455 pesos for 6 cans. But they're also going to charge you another 300 pesos for $6 for shipping, probably. San Marino tuna. Let's take a look. Shipping fee, 30 pesos. Oh, no, only 30 pesos. Is it 30 pesos each? At 30 pesos. So that's a good deal. Yeah, I just wrote down tuna. Thanks, Peter. I'm going to check that out because I got to eat something besides eggs. And tuna is okay for my carnivore diet. And I saw tuna fish last week in 3-pound cans. So I didn't think about it because last week I was still eating pork. I think that'll work out just fine. I'll try it. I never had a problem with fish before. I just never bought tuna fish because I never had the want for it. Actually, there's another reason. Tuna fish is very high in mercury. They always said that, but I'm gonna go for it. I don't care. We're gonna live on the edge. What happened to my Don? Oh, come on. There we go. I drained the corn juice. Ah, that's why they call it corn. It's corn juice, okay, and eat it with crackers and Tabasco sauce. That sounds good. I love Tabasco sauce. YOLO, like the kids say. YOLO? Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try that. Thanks. Yeah, I need a substitute. I got to tell you, you only live once. That's, I don't know if that's true or not, but the only way to find out could be tough on the old body. So, yeah, I actually believe in life after death. In fact, I'm a firm believer that the soul lives on somehow or another. But, in the meantime, I'll just enjoy this one. Yeah. You know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at my camera. Without doing anything to my camera, I have a pink line across the front of my camera. Now, I've left it in the camera holder for a week. And and now I have a pink and a green line across my camera. And then I have a pink and a green line and a white line now within the last half hour. And my phone never, in the last week, it hasn't left this stand. So how it got more lines? Damn. I just had the back fell off my phone. Just the glue fell apart after a year and a half. And I brought it to Samsung. They fixed it right away. An hour. They put there's a gasket, and they glue it, and they put like really high tensile strength rubber bands on it. They did a nice job. But now I have lines in the camera. I had one before they fixed it, one after they fixed it. Now two appeared today. And it's never left the camera holder since that day. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with that. I gotta get some cold water. Let me see if this water is a little cold. No. The house in the Florida Keys, it had a downstairs. I call it a basement. Hello, Mick Fisher. No, my house in the Florida Keys had a ground floor level with street level. So the street, you came off the street, and then the driveway went to the house. And then there's no, in the Florida Keys, I don't think I ever saw a house with a basement. By definition of a basement, that's below grade. I don't think I ever saw any house. Oh, yeah, I did. I saw one. The first house I lived in. but it wasn't really a basement. It was, but it was a cistern. So the house, but there was no furniture. There was you had to climb down a vertical ladder to get into it. But the whole of underneath the house was 7 feet lower than the ground, the street level floor, and that was a cistern. No basement, no furniture, no plumbing, no electric. But I never saw a house with a basement. Thank you. Yeah, thumbs up. Yeah, and I was a contractor, so I would have seen if someone had a basement. Uh, it was something that they did, probably to grow something down in the basement. Um, so that uh, the heat source wouldn't show up for grow lights or a grow room, because that was illegal back then. I don't know if it still is. But I had a ground floor of 1,000 square feet, and the upper floor had 925 square feet. Concrete walls, concrete ground floor with tile, concrete first floor, second floor with tile, and a 6-inch thick concrete roof that I had. You could go up there and I didn't have a deck up there. I always wanted to put a deck up there, but I never did. It was a beautiful house. Yes, the water table would be too high. You're right, Mick Fisher. Certainly right. The water table would be too high for a basement, even in Fort Lauderdale. Come to think about it, yeah, the water table was with all those ponds, and I never thought about that before. With all those little estuaries behind everybody's house all throughout Fort Lauderdale and Miami, you're right. You couldn't have a basement. You could, but you'd have to make it special. But yeah, I never did see a basement, even in Miami. No, I know a lot of people that lived in Fort Lauderdale. No, nobody had a basement. You're right. Never thought about that. Just never thought about having a basement either in the Florida Keys. Just the way it was. I loved living in the Florida Keys. He did the right thing. You're right about that. That guy, the man that you backed down. We'll just say that. He got mad at me because I mentioned that in a live stream. Well, he's such a tough guy, but not to Mick Fisher. He didn't want no part of that. He didn't want no part of that. Mick Fisher backed him up to the year 2000. backed him up, and later on it reminded me of that movie with the DeLorean where it went back in time, Back to the Future. He backed him up into the year 2000. That was funny. I was watching that live too. Yeah, the best part, the best part. I don't lie to anybody about anything. Oh no, not you. Not you. You would never lie. That was funny. Lies about everything. But anyway, that's. My lawyer. I spoke with my lawyer this morning. What I can and can't say, and I really have to limit what I say. Can't mention any names at all, but I have to limit what I say because we still have a major thing going on in the system. So I'm not really allowed to talk about anything. But that was funny. And that other guy. Those guys are funny. Those guys are really funny. But I'm going to get off that subject before I say something. I'm not allowed to talk about certain things. The lawyer was real clear on that. See, I can talk about the law, which is what is in. You have to be so freaking careful what you say here. If you say somebody's name, and you have your face in the video, they can take you to court. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't take them to court if you have videos of them as well. But then you're in court and you're burning up $1,500 on each case. So I've learned not to mention anything that's really important by name. But the laws here are so different, you know. You could have, but if you don't have your face in the video, if I put this video down as same title, and I didn't put my face in it, and I just talked, I put a dirty sock over the screen, I could say anything I want. Can't take me to court. Anything. Don't matter what I say. Doesn't matter what you say. You could say anything you want, and they can't take you to court. Wouldn't mean that you didn't hear them say it, but you can't use it in a court of law. But with your face in the screen, you got to be careful. Fuck. Matter of fact, someone sent me a sworn affidavit this morning, and it would mean nothing to a court of law because the person would have to appear in person in the court and swear to the testimony. And then, of course, I would, in order to put a case, to start a case, I need $1,500. So it does me no good. He'll give me all the videos I want, all the email correspondence that I want, but he would have to come to court and then he'd have to pay for the case. I'm not going to pay for another case. So that's why I'm being careful. The lawyer told me, I know more about the law in the Philippines than most other people. I don't read the law. I'm experiencing the law firsthand. So getting back, my God, Jack Thompson, I came this close to calling you yesterday, Jack. You must be psychotic. I came this close to calling you at 2 o'clock in the morning yesterday. Jack, how the hell are you? And you don't have to tell us exactly how you're doing, because I remember what you were going through last time, but it's good to see you. I really was going to call you, and I said, I don't know about that. Jack might not. You didn't want to talk to anybody last time I talked to you. Strong, like bull, hammer and the sickle. Yeah, I actually thought about it. You know me. I got nothing to do. I want to talk. So we'll talk if you want. I'll give you a call after the live stream. I'll put your name up on Skype. I'll get you out. See if do you still? Yeah, I think you do. Right, hold on a minute. Let me open this up, and then let me get your name up on the screen, so it reminds me. Calls. Wow. There it is, Jack. The last time we spoke was April 9th. That's a long time. So April 9th, 25 days. That's May 9th. You did spend a lot of time in the hospital. Wow. Sorry to hear that, Jack. I only had a small operation. I was in the hospital 3 days. That bugged me out. Let's see, do you still have a wrench? Yeah, he's got a wrench, amazingly so. That wrench comes and goes like the weather. I don't think anybody's ever had a wrench flip-flop more than Jack Thompson. He's spinning the wrench. We're going to fall on red or black today, Jack Thompson. Yeah, you don't have to put all your details out on YouTube. I wouldn't do that, Jack. I'd keep that to myself. and then I'll give you a call. Maybe if Scott's going to be awake. What time is it? Matter of fact, I could end this live stream now, and we could have a three-way call if you like. Scott, what do you think about that? We'll have a three-way call, me, you, and Jack. And Jack, are you up to that? You used your wrench today. Good for you. You got to use it or lose it, and you lose it often. I don't think anybody lost their wrench more than Jack Thompson. Yeah, so we'll wait for Scott's answer, and if Scott said yes, I'll end the live stream, and I'll call you, and then call Scott. I'll add him to the conversation. I think Scott is still with us. Mick Fisher, thank you for stopping by. And Flying Circus, thank you very much. And that fella, Exlus Thribodu, thank you for stopping by. Mike L, thank you. Hey, buddy, a nice conversation with you we had today. Ant Farmer, thank you. J. Dow, thank you very much. Today was a good day. I had a good day. Shaw, says Jack, suspense playing music while we wait for Scott's answer. Scott, I'm pretty sure, would be up to that, but let's see. It is getting late for Scott. And sometimes he just dozes off at about this time. Scott? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this live stream. I'm going to talk to my friend Jack Thompson, and we'll give Scott a ring, see what's up with that. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. And let's see what else we have to talk about. Not much. I think I have a topic for tomorrow. I think Peter V, that's right. Thank you for stopping by. And thanks for the heads up on that tuna fish, Peter V. Peter V Jr. I'm definitely gonna have, I'll buy 1 can, 3 pounds, drain it, and I have this imitation mayonnaise. And if I like it, that's better than just having eggs all the time. And I have Chinese pitchai, which is different than pitchai. Pitchai is the little bulb with a couple of stalks, and the Chinese pitchai is big. Okay, I'll try it. If they have the Marino, what was the name of that? The San Marino tuna. Corn tuna. San Marino corn tuna. I'm sure they'll have it in ICM. I'm sure they'll have it in the supermarket. It doesn't sound like that odd of a product. They want to sell you stuff. That Lazada website, or the website that it was on, that's for people that live in the province, that they can't get, they're 50 miles away from a supermarket. All right, we're gonna say thank you and good night. And of course, I'm Ping Permy from Michael Fazio and Daisy May. And in the Philippines, baby. And remember, Ping Permy means take care always. Bye-bye for now. That's right. From Rabbi Drew Barker in the Philippines, baby. That's right. Bye-bye.